In Chapter 44 of Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility, Willoughby demands to speak with Elinor. His first concern is Marianne's health, but once he knows she's out of danger, he admits that he rode from London to offer some kind of explanation and ask for Marianne's forgiveness. He also admits he's drunk. He says that when he first met the Dashwoods at Barton Cottage, he meant merely to enjoy their company as a pleasant distraction. But little by little, Willoughby fell in love with Marianne. His days at Barton Cottage were the happiest of his life, but his finances were greatly embarrassed and prevented him from declaring his affections. Willoughby had decided to profess his love to Marianne at the very time that his aunt, the provider of his inheritance, learned about his disgraceful treatment of Eliza Williams, whom he had impregnated and abandoned. Willoughby can't even bring himself to say her name, and he insists that she shares some of the blame. His aunt, Mrs. Smith, told Willoughby to marry Eliza or be cut off. He refused, and this made him realize that he feared poverty more than he loved Marianne. So instead of proposing to Marianne, he left Barton Park, plagued by guilt and overwhelmed by his situation. Marianne's letters from London were agony to Willoughby, but by then he was engaged to Miss Grey and pretending to love her. Miss Grey intercepted Marianne's final letter, and she dictated the cold response Willoughby sent to Marianne. She also went through his pocketbook and removed his prized lock of Marianne's hair. Miss Grey also forced Willoughby to return Marianne's letters and lock of hair. His punishment, he says, is separation from Marianne and marriage to the bitter Miss Grey. Elinor tells him, "You have proved your heart less wicked," but she reminds him of the misery he has caused. He asks Elinor to tell Marianne his story and says he came because Sir John said Marianne was dying. Elinor feels both sorry for him and enraged. Just before he leaves, Willoughby suggests that perhaps he might one day be free to court Marianne again. Elinor reproves him, and he says he'll live in dread of Marianne's marriage. In Chapter 45 of Sense and Sensibility, overwhelmed by Willoughby's emotions and her own reactions, Elinor guards against letting his manner of speaking sway her opinions. Soon, Marianne wakes, feeling better, and Mrs. Dashwood arrives. Overnight, Elinor dreads telling Marianne about Willoughby's heartfelt confession. As Marianne's strength returns, Mrs. Dashwood reveals to Elinor that Colonel Brandon declared his love for Marianne during the trip to Cleveland. This is a good match, she thinks, and one day Marianne will agree. Elinor is pleased and pained, surprised and not surprised to hear her mother speak warmly about Brandon's merits, Marianne's wounded heart, and the healing that time may bring.